Hi, welcome to the channel again. This video is going to be covering the topic of Cayuco racing again. This is my friend Marco who requested the video. He's been a captain of a Cayuco team for a couple of years. And we're going to show you a demo of the pulling technique so you get a better idea of what exactly is required in this sport. And then we'll talk about the muscles used, that there's different muscle fiber types, and then show you a circuit that'll develop to some extent both muscle fiber types, and will help develop the muscles used in the pulling techniques of the stroke, as well as other muscles to balance out the physiology.
Hi, I'm Marco Marotta. I've been paddling for about 5 years. Lately, competitions have been getting a lot more intense these last couple of years, so I've asked Stephen to help me with exercises that might help the improvement of my stroke and my team's endurance during the competitions and the intensity during the competitions as well. A little bit about the stroke. This is my makeshift Cayuco seat. This is pretty much how you sit in a Cayuco boat. So you hold your paddle about an inch above the blade, other hand on the grip. You lean forward, arms straight, dig, pull with your body, and then when the blade reaches your hip, you pull out and you repeat the motion. And then this is more or less what it should look like. Now, the muscles mostly used are the legs, the backs, and the lats. If you notice, my arms are rigid, they don't bend. A lot of people do this, which is wrong. It's mostly the back, and you twist, and you use your torso and your legs to pull. So that's pretty much what the stroke is like, and Stephen's going to show me and show us what exercises can best work the leg muscles, the lats, the back, and the triceps and biceps for other situations that we might require during a race.
There's a couple things in Cayuco racing that the individual needs to look at. The first is that building up a lot of bulk or size to obtain the muscular strength and endurance they need is going to be counterproductive because it adds weight to the boat. And that's going to slow you down and make you have to work even harder. So you want to develop endurance for the long races and sprint strength for the shorter races without building a lot of size. To do that, we're going to do circuits that do strength training in a moderate repetition range between 15 and 30 for durations of time to get the endurance factors in, somewhere between 3 to 10 repetitions of the circuit. And doing this will develop both the fast twitch muscle fibers for the sprint type exercises, because there'll be in those races a much lower oxygen capacity because you're working much faster, and then we'll also be working the slow twitch muscle fibers for the longer race. On the paddling stroke, if you notice, his bottom arm and the top arm were both mostly straight. That's going to elicit on the top arm a bit of the pec for pushing the triceps and the deltoids. So we're going to work all of those. And on the bottom arm, which may be doing actually more of the force on the pole, I'm not sure exactly, but both arms will be getting worked and they switch, so you want to work both arms anyways. The bottom arm is doing a straight arm pull that's going to be a little bit of the lower pec, predominantly the lat, and some of the rear delt and other shoulder muscles. So for that, we're going to work the pulling muscles quite hard, but we're also going to work the pressing muscles to stay in balance. We're going to work the low back for the part of the pull where the back pulls. We're going to work the abdominals because they work in the reaching forward section and keeping balance and coordination, and the core is always important to all strength activities. And we're going to work the legs for the effort they put into the motion. For the exercises we're going to do, I tried to pick a way in which most people would be able to have the equipment to do these exercises, or use equipment that gyms tend to have in large volume so that the whole team could work out together if they so desire. There's a couple things you're going to need. You'll need a medicine ball, though it's not super crucial. You could also use dumbbells for the part we're going to use the medicine ball for, but it has some nice uses. We're also going to use dumbbells, depending on the person's strength and which variation of the exercise that you do. Light dumbbells might be effective. You might need heavier dumbbells. It depends on the individual's strength and what exactly they're training for. You'll also need either a dip rack, if you're strong enough, or something to hold your feet and something to elevate your hands for when you do dips. Other than that, you don't need much equipment other than your body. The first exercise in the circuit is a forward press. You can do bench press, you can do push-ups, or you could do dumbbell flies if the person's so inclined. I'm going to show push-ups quickly, and then I'll show some dumbbell flies, just in case the person prefers that variation. For the push-up, I have a video on push-ups already, and I may do another one at some point, but you're going to want probably a shoulder-width grip, not much wider than that, or if you really want to work the triceps, you can put your hands in a diamond position. But you're going to want your body to be straight, your form to be good, your glutes, your back, all tight, and then to just control down, pause above the ground, and come up nice and controlled. As you get to higher repetitions, you can do it a little quicker, but you don't want to drop on the floor, and you don't want to do a sagging back, as I'm sure you've seen people do when they get tired. The dumbbell flies, if the person is so inclined, will be simply to lay on the ground or a bench, and with the elbows slightly bent, to fly out, a brief pause, and to pull back in. You don't have to pull all the way together, because in that position, the chest relaxes. You can stop out here. And it's just nice, simple, and controlled. It's very important to control this, because you can easily overstretch the pecs. The second exercise is going to use the dumbbells as well, or a barbell if the person so desires, or if you have access to it, you could use a rowing machine. And it's simply to bend over, keeping your back flat, as always, on exercises where you're bending over, and to pull the elbows up and back. You don't want it to be an arm pull up, because that's more like a curl. You want the elbow to go up and back, because that's going to work your lat. Or the other variation you can do, if you either have lighter dumbbells, or you want it to be more true to the rowing motion, is rather than pulling the elbow up and back, to still pull the elbow up and back, but to keep the arm straight, and that'll work the tricep harder as well. And so just nice and controlled. The third exercise is a dipping motion or a downwards press. There's machines that you can strap yourself in and press handles downwards. There's dip racks where you can lift your full body weight. Or, if the person isn't strong enough for either of those or doesn't have the equipment for that, you would get something as simple as a chair and a table, or here we have a raised section of the wall and a seat. And you just put your hands behind you. You balance your body up on the seat, and you lower and press. Nice and controlled. And you want to go down to about a 90 degrees in the elbow if you can, and your shoulders are flexible enough. If that's too difficult, the person can do it without their feet elevated, and you'll be doing a lower percentage of your body weight, and they can do it. The next exercise is going to be working the low back musculature for the effort that the low back will do during the row. And because in the Cayuco racing, your legs are mostly straight, we're going to do a stiff-legged deadlift. You'll keep your legs more or less straight, keep your back flat, and bend over as far as your flexibility allows, keeping your back flat. Pause, and pull back up. Be very careful on your form on this one. You don't want a back injury. You can do this with dumbbells or barbells. The second to last exercise in the circuit is to do squats to develop the legs, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, and in some ways the hip flexors. And to do this exercise, you don't have to use a medicine ball to do it, but it helps you know that you're going deep enough and you're having good, deep squats. You'll want your feet about shoulder width apart, your feet more or less directly forward, turn just slightly out so that your knees move in line with your toes. You're going to squat down and touch the ball. This ball is a little low, but that's okay. You're going to squat down and touch the ball and stand back up. You want the weight over your heels rather than on your toes. So you squat down, touch the ball, and stand up. If you don't have a ball or the ball is too low, you can just squat down normally. You want to get your hips below or parallel with your knees, and then stand back up. Try and keep your back flat as long as your flexibility allows. You can also do barbell squats if you have access to those and no proper form on them. But remember, we're going for decent repetition numbers here, not maximal strength. The final exercise in the circuit is going to be something to work the abdominals. The reason this is last is your abdominals stabilize everything, so you don't want them tired for the rest of the motions. You can use a medicine ball or dumbbells, or even a barbell, though that's much more difficult. And what you're going to do is it's going to be a combination of a crunch, a pullover, and leg raises. This is an advanced abdominal move, so if you can't do it, do a portion of it, either the leg raise or the pullover crunch section. You're going to reach back with the weight and keep it just off the floor. Raise your legs up, and then you're going to raise your legs and crunch at the same time. And then lower. Probably 15 to 30 repetitions if you can manage, under control. And with this one, you can use a little speed as long as you don't bother your back. Try and keep your legs mostly straight. A little bend is okay, whatever your flexibility allows. Here's a quick demo of how the circuit is, and to tie it together, I'm going to do 5 repetitions of each. You'll probably want to do somewhere between 15 and 30, and then with either somewhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes of rest after the circuit ends, and then you repeat again for 3 to 10 times, depending on your fitness level and the goals you're after. You're going to start with push-ups. Make sure to breathe. Then you'll move to the rows. I'll show you a few repetitions of the pulls, and then also the straight arm variation. Then you'll move to the dips. And if you notice I'm moving from exercise to exercise, that's to keep your metabolic level up. Then you're going to do the dips. Put the seat a little too close for these, but that's okay. Do whatever range of motion is comfortable on your shoulders here. Then you go back to the dumbbells. You might want to set up a second set of dumbbells a little heavier for this exercise because the back muscles are a little stronger. Keeping the back flat. You pull. Nice and slow and controlled. With just a little bit of stretch at the bottom for 5 repetitions. Then you squat. And if the squats are too easy, you can easily do something like pull the weight. For 15 to 30 as always, or more if your legs have good endurance. And then you finish with what I'm sure is going to be your favorite exercise, the abdominals. Make sure to crunch your shoulders up to the floor. That's the basic circuit. You'll want to repeat that at least 3 times, if not more. This is Stephen Knowles and Marco Marotta for Warrior Poet Zeal on the strength portion of this channel. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Send video responses if you like. You can ask questions of topics you want covered or anything else you want to send on the way. Thank you to Marco for letting us film at his house and for helping with the filming of this video and for his question. And we'll see you next time.